I love my 4 years at the University of Maryland, even though I don't recognize it anymore. I started in 1951 and graduated in 1955. And my first real entrepreneurial experience came as a student. I was in a fraternity, and in those days, most of the fraternity brothers were hired by the post office at Christmas time. But a partner of mine, a fellow student, we came up with the idea of getting some lots to sell Christmas trees. And we raised some money to buy the trees in February to be delivered at Christmas time, in the Christmas season. We hired our fraternity brothers, guaranteed them a salary, took the risk, and we sold Christmas trees on all these lots, and we made some money and helped us pay for our education. So that was my first experience and first risk. I majored in accounting, and I graduated, and in Maryland at that time, I don't know what the rules are now, you could take the CPA exam without practicing. So I took the exam and passed. And suddenly I was a CPA. So my sister had a friend who was an individual practitioner, and she talked to him about hiring me, which he did for $5,000 a year. And he sent me to do the books of a filling station in the suburbs here. I don't know if it still exists, called Kensington Esso. And I was doing the books and wiping off the grease. Finally got to the final end of the year profits, and Kensington Esso made $25,000. So I went to my boss, Bernie, the single practitioner, and I said, Bernie, how long do you think it'll take for me to make $25,000? And he said, well, if everything works out well and you become a junior partner, maybe in 5 years, you'll be making $25,000. I said, Bernie, 1 week of this is enough. I'd rather own a gas station. And I'm not going to bore you with all of the other entrepreneurial things that I did or risks that I took. I think I'll just start with the fact that I, at one time, was an executive with the Philadelphia Eagles. I heard that the National Hockey League was expanding, and I thought it would be a great thing to have in Philadelphia. And at 33 years of age, I ended up starting the Philadelphia Flyers hockey team. I actually wanted about 10% of the team because I couldn't afford anything else. I wanted the 10% because I was putting the thing together. But no one really wanted to invest. They said hockey would never succeed in Philadelphia. In fact, the bankers we went to didn't even know what a puck was. So we had problems, but we struggled. You know, we put it together. I put my house up as collateral for a very small loan, got some investors, and I have to tell you that the Hockey News then voted that of the 6 new teams in the National Hockey, there were 6 original teams, and they expanded by 6 in 1967. They said the least likely to succeed of those 6 teams was Philadelphia. So you can imagine how I felt. But fortunately, we put a nice team together. In our 7th year of existence, we won our first Stanley Cup. So that was something that, you know, started me on the way. And since then, my philosophy of business has been to do what you do well and grow it. So we had the Spectrum. We started a management company that's now called SMG. It was called Spectacor Management Group. Manages arenas, stadiums, convention centers throughout the world. I sold it, and a couple years later started another one called Global Spectrum, which actually is the 2nd largest in the world. Started our own television company called Prism, a pay cable company in the old days. We then recently started Comcast sports nets that are now all over the country. We have a concession company that does concessions in arenas, stadiums, convention centers called Invitational. We have a ticketing company. So all of that grew, and we have about 10,000 employees. So my father once told me, if you don't do anything, you can't do anything wrong. And I've always lived by that motto. So follow your gut. If you have an idea, take a chance, and more often than not, the reward will be worth the risk. I'm really thrilled to be here, and I wish all of you the very best.